Last chapter, mining. Now, we already know that the Earth's crust is made up of rocks, and that rocks are made up of minerals. These minerals occur naturally, meaning they are not made in factories nor by any man. An ore is simply a rock that contains a high percentage of a certain mineral. For example, hematite contains a high percentage of iron. Malachite contains a high percentage of copper. Cinnabar contains a high percentage of mercury. Some metals such as gold and platinum are not found in ores, but rather exist naturally as native metals. Mining is the extraction of metals or ores from the ground. Mining companies dig up the ores or minerals and process them to be sold for profits. Some of the more widely known and mined minerals range from precious metals like gold and other metals like copper and nickel, which are widely used in construction and manufacturing. People have been mining or removing useful, valuable materials from the earth for thousands of years, and mining takes place all over the world. It is important to remember that rocks themselves are not minerals. Rather, rocks contain minerals mixed with organic materials. Minerals in the Earth's crust occur in different formations. If we go digging in igneous and metamorphic rocks, we will find minerals as minor deposits called veins, or bulky deposits called lodes. Both veins and lodes occur in crevices, cracks or faults that are formed when molten materials cool and solidify. Most metallic minerals like copper, zinc, lead and tin are found in such formations. If we look in sedimentary rocks, we would find coal, oil or natural gas in seams or layers. These are formed due to great amount of heat and pressure exerted on organic materials over thousands of years. We also come across vast beds or layers of minerals like gypsum, potash and sodium salts. These beds are created when mineral-rich water evaporates, leaving the minerals behind. But we do not always have to dig deep into the earth to extract minerals. Some metallic minerals like gold, silver, platinum and tin are found as alluvial deposits in the sand. These minerals are highly resistant to weathering and are detached from veins of rocks by running water. They are then carried away and deposited together with sand and soil in valleys. Alluvial deposits are also called placer deposits. Mineral-rich rocks may also get weathered or decomposed by natural agents. This leaves behind a residual mass of weathered materials that contains a high percentage of minerals. Bauxite, an aluminium-rich ore, nickel, iron and manganese are often found as weathering products. Ocean waters are also a rich source of minerals like common salt, bromine, and magnesium. And the ocean floors are often loaded with mineral deposits like manganese nodules. Now, before any mining can commence, The interested persons must be satisfied that certain factors are working in their favor. First is the value of the mineral. Minerals such as oil attract miners because they are highly valuable and can be extracted at a very high cost without running any loss. On the other hand, low-value minerals like quartz are not usually extracted to a greater extent. Secondly is the size of the deposit. In order for the mining and extraction process to be commercially viable, the mineral must exist in large enough deposits. It is called a high-grade ore. Low-grade ores contain small quantities of minerals and are usually not exploited. Thirdly is the quality of the ore. This simply means the extent of purity of the mineral in the ore. For example, aluminium is found in around 150 known ores, but only one of them, bauxite, is used to extract aluminium. Abundantly available ores that offer sufficient concentration of the mineral and a commercially viable process of extraction are used. Fourthly, skilled personnel. Mining and extraction of minerals require highly qualified personnel to conduct the studies, operate the machinery, and all the systems associated with the process. Absence of such may lead to a mineral lying idle in the ground. Next is political stability. In countries facing civil strife, exploitation of minerals may not be possible because miners and mining companies may not feel secure. Next is capital. The training of personnel, exploration and mining operations require heavy capital investment. Mining involves expensive machinery and technology that may not be available in poor nations. This may result in no mining taking place or the same being done by foreigners. And lastly, environmental impact. Now, an environmental impact assessment is mandatory before any mining can commence. If the negative impacts outweigh the benefits, the mining is halted. The mining process usually begins with prospecting. The prospector's job is to look for and test how much mineral is present in the ground. It involves taking samples and doing tests to find out what and how much mineral is present. This will determine whether the deposits are large enough to justify the large cost of digging them up. Now, there are different methods of mining. One method is open cast mining, which basically involves the removal of top layers of the earth, creating open pits. This method is applied for minerals that are deposited close to the earth's surface. Bulldozers and other earth-moving machineries are used. The ore is then loaded onto trucks and transported to the processing plant. In certain cases, when there is a huge layer of rocks overlying the minerals, explosives can be used. For example, this layer of coal is lying under a thick rock layer. By blowing off the rock bit by bit, the mineral can be accessed easily. And then there is alluvial mining. Alluvial mining is extracting metals, usually gold and diamond, from sediments, sand and gravel that are deposited in river valleys. On a small scale, alluvial mining is done by individuals or small groups of people. In large scale, however, alluvial mining is done by placer machines. Here, a jet of water under high pressure is directed at the soil-sand mineral mixture. This separates the soil from the heavy particles. The particles are then taken into a machine and swirled in order to separate light particles from the heavy mineral particles. Another widely used method of mining is underground mining. As the name suggests, the miners work underground, tunneling under the earth, searching for and removing the minerals. The deepest underground mines are in South Africa, and they reach nearly 4 kilometers into the earth. The tunnels have well-developed rail tracks, and the roofs are reinforced with concrete. Heavy machines are deployed into the tunnels, where they scoop and scrap the minerals from their deposits. These minerals are then loaded onto trucks, which transport them away. Coal is widely mined through this method. Other minerals such as sulfur and potash are mined by sinking pipes underground. Superheated water is injected into the deposit to melt the mineral. High-pressure air is then pumped underground to the molten mineral. This forces the mixture of molten mineral and water to gush out to the surface where it is collected. Water is then evaporated to recover the mineral. Crude oil and natural gas are mainly mined through drilling. A new frontier in development of mining is deep-sea mining. This happens hundreds of meters on the ocean floors. Underwater volcanoes often lead to exposure of minerals, and miners go far under the water to reach them. A special underwater machine is lowered to the seafloor, where it scoops the mineral ores. The mixture of rock and water is pumped to the surface to a support or processing ship. Next, we look at types of minerals. Now, for commercial purposes, minerals are classified as metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals, and energy or fuel minerals. The metallic minerals can further be classified as ferrous minerals or those that contain iron, non-ferrous minerals or those that do not contain iron, and precious minerals such as gold and platinum. For the most part, metallic ores are oxides, carbonates, or sulfides of the metal of interest. For instance, the iron in hematite is mostly iron 3 oxide. The copper in malachite is mostly copper 2 carbonate. The mercury in cinnabar is primarily found as mercury 2 sulfide. Examples of ores of non-metals include quartz, which contain a high percentage of silicon in the form of silicon dioxide. Limestone is also a non-metallic ore containing a high percentage of calcium, but in the form of calcium carbonate. Fossil fuels are natural fuels that are formed from the remains of living organisms. They include petroleum, coal, and natural gas. Petroleum is the most important of them all. In its raw form as crude oil, it is a viscous and dark substance. Crude oil is then subjected to fractional distillation to obtain various components. Each component has important uses. Petrol is useful as fuel for cars. Naphtha is used in manufacture of chemicals. Kerosene is used as aircraft fuel. Diesel is used as fuel for large trucks. And bitumen is used in road construction. Uranium is a radioactive metal which gives off energy. It is used in electricity generation in nuclear power plants. Next, we look at major minerals in East Africa. We start with trona mining in Kenya. In Kenya, trona is mined at Lake Magadi in the Rift Valley. Here, the placer method is used. This is mined using the dredging technique, using a machine called a dredger. The dredger scoops trona from the surface of the lake. This trona is, however, mixed with mud. The scooped trona is fed into a crusher in the dredger and mixed with water or lake liquor. The mixture is then pumped in a pipeline to the factory. At the factory, the crushed trona is mixed with clean water in a washery where mud and small rocks are removed, and the lake liquor is pumped back into the lake. The dry crystals are then taken into a kiln or roaster where they are heated to about 300 degrees Celsius. This is then crushed into small sizes, sieved and packaged ready for export. Next is copper in Uganda. Now, copper is a soft metal usually found in metamorphic rocks. It was mined at Kasese in western Uganda, and the mines were called Kilembe mines. Kilembe is a region of volcanic activities that lead to metamorphosis of sedimentary rocks. The copper mining started in the 1950s, and Uganda became one of the leading producers and exporters of copper. For many years, the mines earned Uganda a huge amount of foreign currency and provided employment to about 6,000 people. It also led to the mushrooming of urban settlements and development of rail transport. Kilembe mines, however, ceased operations in the late 1970s after exhaustion of the minerals. Since then, the company has engaged in power generation, metal fabrication, and manufacturing of machinery such as maize mills, windows and door frames, among others. Copper occurs mainly as copper pyrite, which is the chief ore. The pyrite is mined and transported to the processing plant. Here it is crushed and then concentrated and added chemicals to form a slurry. The slurry is then roasted in several stages to remove water and impurities. The roasted products are then put into a blast furnace to further remove the remaining impurities. The product is a liquid mass called slag. This is finally taken through purification to obtain pure copper. Minerals in other regions. Gold in South Africa. Gold in South Africa occur as alluvial deposits that have been weathered away into the river valleys. They are extracted using the placer method. This begins with high-pressure water cutting like laser into the piles of sediments, washing the waste into a pipeline where it's pumped into a treatment plant and mixed with chemicals to extract the precious metal. The technology is not new, but the high price of gold means it's worth the effort. Oil in Saudi Arabia. Now, since the discovery of oil in 1938, Saudi Arabia has become the leading oil producer. A state-owned company explores the kingdom, discovering and developing over 130 oil fields, including the Ghawar field, which is the largest conventional oil field in the world. Today, Saudi Arabia supplies more crude oil to the global economy than any other oil producer. The country has also invested in research and development to maximize oil recovery and improve efficiency. With a highly trained workforce, improved technology, and availability of capital, oil has made Saudi Arabia among the world's largest economies. Next, we'll look at significance of mining. Now, because miners need to remove huge amounts of earth in order to find the minerals, they produce huge amounts of waste. What to do with or how to dispose this waste is one of the most difficult environmental challenges with mining. One crude way of disposal is pushing the waste into rivers. This, however, causes the rivers to fill up with soil and regularly spill over and cause flooding, inflicting serious damages to the communities living along the river. Riverline disposal is no longer acceptable in many countries, and responsible miners use other methods. One of the greatest environmental impact of mining is air pollution. This often comes from dust from the mining grounds and smoke from the processing plants. After the mineral is exhausted, they leave the site. To repair the environmental damage created by the mine, responsible and quality mining companies follow up with a rehabilitation plan to help speed up the recovery of the environment. Miners have an obligation, as enforced in the countries they are operating, to properly manage waste and clean up and rehabilitate the environment after mining. Mining can bring change to the lifestyle of people living in and around the mining sites. Some of these social impacts are things like rapid rise in population, drug and alcohol abuse, and dispute over land and money from the development. In some mining processing, such as gold mining, chemicals are used, and those chemicals in the waste can find their way into rivers and streams if not managed properly. Some rocks naturally contain dangerous chemicals, and when the earth has been opened up, these chemicals leach into the environment. Large-scale mining and digging in coastal areas can also have an impact on the nearby marine environment. Mining is a huge business. If well planned and managed, mining can bring large-scale development opportunities and benefits to a region. Such benefits include health. Mining can boost health benefits with facilities such as clinics and hospitals. Another is education, by developing and supporting services such as schools, scholarships, and also vocational training. infrastructure development such as housing, roads, rail, and also improved communication facilities. Mining opens up business opportunities such as providing services to the mines and other flow of businesses from the economy generated by the mining development, plus employment opportunities working for the miners.